Hello all, thank you very much for attending this AWS webinar. My name is Abhinav. I am a database engineer in the AWS Database Migration Service and Schema Conversion Tool team. Today I'll be talking about how can you migrate your existing on-premise IBM Db2 databases to Amazon Cloud. Let's go on. So generally customers are most of the time whenever they think of cloud or they want to move from their existing on-premise legacy environments to cloud, they have general questions like how can I move my current on-premise data to cloud without any issues, how can I make this move that I'm doing for with regards to my current on-premise data, which is complicated and seamlessly accessible to my users when I'm doing this migration. Afterwards, when I have moved my current data, how will my current on-premise applications will interact with this cloud, and how will be the responses? Will my application be able to work fine? And then there are like a lot of general questions related to the hybrid structure and other things. Once I have integrated my the current data systems with AWS, how will be what will be the problems that I will be seeing, or how can I integrate them without having any issues with AWS? Can I move off my existing commercial databases, which are expensive or which are not providing us agility, and can I move them without any issues to Amazon? How can I envision my existing databases and data to have a data lake project? So these this is something that each and every organization, when they think about cloud, or any customer when they think about cloud, that they want to change their current architecture, these are some things that everyone thinks about, and they want to reduce the complexity and make it more transparent and make it more easier when they are doing it. The other problems, there are the problems related to the syncing of their existing data with the cloud, the mobility, that how will this replication or the migration will be smooth and issues, the ability to migrate off commercial license intensive database engine onto cloud native non commercial engines. Like these are some things that the customers are looking for, and they want to do this in as much less complex and cost effective manner. Coming to the actual data migration, we know that it's very cost intensive, it is very complex, and it is very time consuming as well. The reason for this is like the existing data sets, we need to analyze the existing data sets, spend some time off with regards to what will be the compatibility with my current existing on-premise database with regards to my the cloud database that I will be moving to, and then basically figuring out which commercial which commercial the existing commercial database will be compatible to which particular database in cloud. Will it be again having a certain cost attached to it? Will it be an open source engine? If I'm moving to a different engine altogether, what kind of changes do I need to do with regards to my existing databases and other things? And after all this, once I'm able to figure out that okay, this is the tool that will be able to help me to do my migration, then then we again the question comes regarding how much the cost it will be involved to get those engines, which are again expensive, and then having spending more time to set these things up and manage yourselves and make sure that your migration doesn't have any issues or your application doesn't break anytime. Application downtime, that this is something that again you need to when you have started your move towards cloud, you need to make sure that the current tool that you are using is offering you seamless migration and replication without any complex issues, and then you are able to do your migration with minimum and less downtime without affecting your current existing application users or your end users, and making sure that you don't affect your business. At the end it comes that what kind of database engine specific application code that I need to change with regards to with regards to this move. What do I need to make sure that my current application is compatible with the database engine that I'm moving to. So these are the things which makes migration more complex and time consuming. uh, and time consuming, and this is where our tools, which is AWS Database Migration Service and DMS and Schema Conversion Tool SCT comes into picture. Pre DMS, before DMS, this was very costly, license intensive, and then you had you need to have a different replication based replication topology to do your migrate to do your to keep your data in sync. There were long downtimes required, that and there were no options to that because of how because of the application and the other factors involved in that. And customers who wanted to switch engines had to deal with data types, table syntaxes, stored procedure function, and trigger changes, which again takes a lot of time to do. So with all the questions and complexity and cost effectiveness in mind, we developed AWS Database Migration Service. We designed it to be simple. You can get started in less than 10 minutes. We designed it to enable near zero downtime migration, and we designed it to be a kind of a replication, a Swiss Army knife, to replicate data between on-premise R systems, RDS, EC2, and across database engine type. So the AWS Database Migration Service is basically helping you to set up your migration and replicate your databases and data warehouses securely and easily. AWS Schema Conversion Tool is basically helping you to convert your existing database and data warehouses schemas and database code to an open source engine or AWS native services such as Amazon Aurora or Redshift. So DMS, in summary, DMS is helping you to migrate the data that you have in your databases, and Schema Conversion Tool is helping you to convert your existing code to an open source engine or the database engine that you are moving in AWS. To help certain numbers related to certain numbers related to database migration service, we have currently migrated 80 plus thousand databases successfully. Customers are using this tool to migrate between on-premise and AWS. They are also using it to migrate between databases. We as Schema Conversion Tool is basically used by the customers to do automated schema conversion and schema compare to make sure their migration is successful when they are changing the engines. And at the same time, DMS is also helping you to do a zero downtime migration and data replication, and helping your business to run effectively without any issues. And we are also DMS also helps move common commercial databases such as Oracle Microsoft, from Oracle and Microsoft SQL Server, to open source databases such as MySQL, to data warehouses such as data warehouses such as Redshift, and you can also move to to our NoSQL solution using to DynamoDB. To date, we have done 80 plus thousand database migrations successfully. These are some of our customers as that we have successfully worked, or who are actually working currently with our DMS product and schema conversion tool. As you can see, we have worked with startups like Flipboard, Snapcar, Travelex, and at the same time there are enterprises like Expedia, Orion Health, Bristol Myers Squibb, who are effectively and actively using DMS to to get off their current on-premise commercial databases onto the cloud, and at the same time having a and using DMS for running their analytics and reporting in cloud. So the main question comes in here, that when should you use DMS and SCT, and what does it enable you to do when you are doing this, when you are using these tools. So we categorize this in three ways. our tools are basically helping you to modernize your migration with regards to the cloud when you are moving to it. So you can change your current database tier and move from your commercial database engines to one of the open source database engines that we offer as a relational database. You can also move from your commercial database engine to our data warehouse, which is Redshift. And at the same time, you can also move to our NoSQL solution from your commercial engines to which is DynamoDB. Uh, migrating is where DMS comes into picture, where you can use these tools to migrate DMS and SCT to migrate your business critical applications. You can migrate your legacy EC2 instances, which are classic, into a VPC to make it more secure. You can migrate your existing data warehouses, which is Netezza, Greenplum, or SQL Server or Oracle, to Redshift. You can also Customers are also using these tools to basically do an upgrade with zero downtime. Currently, when you want to do an upgrade, you have to plan a certain downtime and go and do the migration. But using these tools, you can also migrate. You can also do an upgrade with less downtime. Consolidating shards to Aurora. If you have multiple instances running for different applications, while you using our tools, you can also consolidate all these instances into one single Aurora instance, or one or any database engine that you are looking for. At the same time, we also help you to you replicate the active changes that are happening to your to your databases. So using this, you can create cross region read replicas. You can run your analytics in cloud based, like reporting services, or analyzing the data that you have moved from your on-premise environment. And at the same time, you can use our tools to keep your dev and test production environment in sync, to make sure that your tests that you are doing are in devs are giving you the numbers with regards to your production environment. So why to use DMS and SCT? So DMS and SCT, the net is that DMS and SCT brings a lot of advantages to the market and can make it easier to move to the cloud. So let's say if DMS is helping you to remove barriers when you are trying to enter to the cloud, like you can use DMS and SCT and set it up, which is not taking you more than which is not complex to set up and not hard to understand. You can set up your replication and migration and do it with near zero downtime with these tools. It is secure. We have compliances. The DMS is HIPAA compliant, where you can use it for your migrations for financial applications, and it is secure. It is easy to use and sophisticated. It allows you database freedom, where you can move from your commercial databases to any open source engine, or you can also change any open source engine to another engine. Like you can go from Oracle to MySQL, and then MySQL to Postgres. Using these, you want to make an hybrid architecture of your current on between your current on-premise environment and the cloud, and this DMS and schema conversion tool helps you to do that. And at the end, these tools are very cost effective, so you can use DMS and SCT without having any issues. And the cha- and the it, and the cost that you pay is less. So when to use schema conversion tool? So since once I have decided basically that I want to migrate from my existing database engine, which is existing OLTP database engine, which is Oracle SQL Server, or if I want to move from my modern from my existing data warehouse, which is Vertica, which can be Vertica, Netezza, or Greenplum, I will use schema conversion tool to basically do the existing code conversion of the database code, or this database code that I have. By database code, I mean my database will be having tables and stored procedures, functions, and triggers. And schema conversion tool is basically helping you to convert that to the if it is an OLTP system, it is helping you to convert it to an Amazon Aurora, which is MySQL and Postgres compatible. Or you can go to RDS Postgres, or you can go to RDS MySQL. And at the same time, in the OLAP environment, you can go from your data warehouse system, which is Vertica, SQL Server, Teradata, to Amazon Redshift, and you can do the code conversions and get an idea uh, of the complexities that will be involved in your migration. Schema conversion tool also, when it comes to homogeneous migrations, schema conversion tool also helps you to do your homogeneous code comparison also. So for example, if I'm moving from my on-premise Oracle environment to an RDS Oracle environment, in this case schema conversion tool will using schema conversion tool, you can compare the schemas that you have deployed on your RDS systems and on with the on-premise environment, and compare, see, and you can see the changes that you need to do with regards to that. So let's say I have copied all my schemas and everything using a native tool to my on-premise to my RDS Oracle or RDS SQL Server, and now before cutover, I want to see that if there were any schema changes that was done to my existing on-premise environment, so that when I am doing a cutover, everything my application should come online without any issues, and I do not I and I don't run into any issues, or my application should go down. So schema copy is where you basically compare the changes between your source and your target, and get an idea about what changes needs to be done, what changes needs to be incorporated, or or what changes doesn't need to be incorporated, or how you are good to go with your cutover or not. Database migration assessment. So this is the main aspect of schema conversion tool. So when you are using schema conversion tool to do your to start your database code conversion, you would run an migration assessment. What this migration assessment means is this migration schema conversion tool will be able to do schema conversion tool will be able to will connect to your source environment, connect to your source environment, analyze the database code objects and database storage objects, and basically give you an idea of the compatibility with the target database engine that you are moving to. So for example, if I'm moving from an IBM Db2 database to a MySQL environment, so this schema conversion tool report is basically connecting to my Db2 environment, analyzing whatever code that I have implemented there with regards to the tables, the constraints, the triggers, the functions, and everything, and it will give me a comprehensive, detailed report saying that this is the automated schema conversion that I'm able to do. These are some of the exceptions that I have raised, and these are some of the things that are not that are either not supported in MySQL, or I'm not able to convert it. So migration assessment in summary is helping you to decide how compatible is your current database with the database in the cloud that you are moving to. So using the conversion scores and using the conversion scores, I'm also able to determine if how my current database will be compatible with the database that I would be moving to. So if I'm moving from an IBM Db2 database to a MySQL database, based on the reports, based on the bar graph that you see on the left side and the executive summary, I would be able to decide that okay, I see that this is the amount of automated code conversion that happened, and there are significant actions that are involved also. So I would go and look at those significant actions, and from the right hand side you could see the changes that are required. So using these things, I would be able to determine that okay, there are certain things that I'm using in my current IBM Db2 database, but which is not currently supported in MySQL. So I would try to find out a workaround, or things that I need to do, changes that I need to incorporate in my current database code to make sure things work fine. But there can be situations where that if certain feature that I'm currently using in my DB2 database which is not available in MySQL, then that basically impedes my ability to move to MySQL. So that is where this migration assessment report comes in, where it basically you can run it against your MySQL. You can run it against a MySQL database or a Postgres database, and basically compare and see and compare that what all what all things and how much more your current on-premise database environment is compatible with these open source engines, and basic and have a good idea that if I'm moving to this particular engine, I would have to do less work. There are less complexities involved, and the number of features supported by this particular database engine is more comparison in comparison to with the other open source engine. So migration assessment report is basically giving you a overview of that and what all things that will be involved when you are actually going ahead with your migration, and basically deciding that this is the engine that I need to go to. So coming to the SCT console part, as you can see from the screenshot, I have highlighted certain sections as a general things that you should need to know about when using schema conversion tool. The first section is basically the source schema. So that is where when once you connect to your source database and you are ready for conversion, the left hand side of the console is basically denoting the left hand side of the console is basically denoting the schemas that are available on your source. So you can select the schema that you actually want to migrate to the target is where you utilize the left hand side. The second part comes is the action items. So these action items are generated once you run the database migration assessment that I talked about before. So once you run the database migration assessment with regards to your targets, with regards to your target database engine, schema conversion tool will generate action items for the database code that it was not able to convert, or for the database code which are questionable or require some action, as at the same time for the database code which is something that is not for the database code which is something not supported with regards to the target engine that you are moving to. So by clicking one or any of the so by clicking the action items, you can the schema conversion tool will actually take you to the SQL code, and it will basically highlight the part which is questionable, or which it is not able to convert, or which is not supported in the target engine that you are going to. And at the same time, you could also see recommendation links that will be provided under action items for you to review the target database engine documentation and basically get started with your migration and conversion. The fourth one is the schema element details. So the schema element details is basically telling us about the particular object that you have selected on the source schema. So for example, if I've selected a table on the source schema, the schema element details will tell me about how many columns the table has, and if there are constraints or not, and other things. The fifth one is the edit window. The edit window is basically the code for that particular object will be pointed out by schema conversion tool, and at the same time, once you click the action items, also the code will be highlighted in this edit window also. So you can also utilize this edit window to change the schema to change the code which is generated by schema conversion tool, and then apply it onto the target. The right hand side part is basically talking about the target schema, and where you have to select your target database to where all these conversions have to happen, and schema conversion tool will convert the code and apply to the target, and it will give you a view of that as well. So let's go through a sample schema conversion tool database assessment report for my existing IBM Db2 database. So this is one of my test databases where I ran a schema conversion tool report, and I'm going to just talk about the different aspects of this report, and how customers can use to have an understanding of their current conversion rates with schema conversion tool, and the compatibility with regards to the database engine that they have selected. So in my use case, I have selected I want to migrate from my IBM Db2 database which is installed on a Linux instance to Amazon RDS for MySQL. So as you can see, the first part is it is showing the source database that I have connected to and the DB2 version that I'm currently using. Coming to the executive summary part. Executive summary part is basically showing you the sum, as the name suggests, it is giving you the summary of the report that it generated, and giving you numbers with regards to how much amount of data it is able to convert with when it comes to analyzing your objects on the source, and when it comes to objects on the source, and how compatible your MySQL database is with regards to these code that you are using. And coming down is where you get you the detailing starts, is where you start seeing the actual numbers. So the first line basically is saying that there are 333 database storage objects. So just to mention more about here, database storage objects means my schema, my tables, my constraints, my indexes, my foreign keys. And database code objects means my actual code, which is triggers, views, functions, stored procedures, and other things. So as you can see, I'm using 333 database objects, storage objects, and 126 code objects. And Schema Conversion Tool, out of these, was able to convert 321, which is a 96% success, and 120, and it was able to convert all the database storage objects, which is a 100% success. And at the same time, it gives you that 12% of the data, 4% of the database storage objects requires significant actions. So by significant actions, I mean you need to actually look into the code, and you actually look into the code and fix. You need to fix it manually, or there are certain things that you are using in your DB2. I'm using in my DB2 databases which are not supported with regards to MySQL. Coming to this bar graph, you can see it has different color combinations. So you can understand the color combinations from here, where like green means objects automatically converted by Schema Conversion Tool. The light blue means objects with simple actions. And then orange means objects with significant actions. So this graphs give you this graph, and the numbers here are denoted with regards to the object. So there are 77 tables in all. In my DB2 databases, there are 97 constraints on these 77 tables, and there are 111 indexes. So these are the numberings of that. And then coming to the database code objects, you can see I'm using 103 triggers, 17 views, and 6 functions. And there are no Schema Conversion Tool was able to translate it without any issues, and there are no significant actions required. Now, if now going more into details, you will see there are detailed recommendations for Amazon for MySQL migration. So here you can see that MySQL doesn't support creating of index. So there are storage object actions. It has also the Schema Conversion Tool will categorize based on exceptions that are occurring. So storage object actions where index changes are required. Like as you can see, MySQL is not supporting this, and the recommended action is to use non-clustered indexes. And at the same time, we have given a documentation reference to that. Going back down, it also will say you that MySQL doesn't support include option indexes, and here the recommended action is that since this is not supported at all, you need to basically do a manual conversion, or need to find out a way to work through this with regards to your current application working. And coming to the table changes, I can see that I'm using user-defined functions, which the Schema Conversion Tool was not able to convert, and it is asking me to create a user-defined functions manually, and it has given me a documentation reference. And then again, coming to the code object, it talks about the function changes that I need to do, review my transformed code and modify it necessary with regards to the timestamp and so on and so forth. You would also notice that we also output the Schema Conversion Tool version whenever you run the report. So that also gives you an idea about which are you currently running the most current version or not. Additionally to this report, the action items that I talked before about is where you can go ahead and analyze more about the actual code which is currently not supported with regards to your target, or will require which will require a manual intervention to convert that. Moving forward with DMS. So where does DMS come into picture? DMS comes into the picture once you have migrated your database code successfully without any issues, and you are done with your conversions, and you are just about ready to start your migration of your current data from your on-premise environment to an to the cloud. So DMS helps you to migrate your business critical application. It helps you to migrate from your existing EC2 instance, classic EC2 instances to VPC, making it more secure. You can migrate your existing commercial data warehouses to Redshift. You can also use DMS. You can also use DMS to upgrade do an upgrade on the versions. Like you don't want to have a downtime when you are doing an upgrades to your existing instances, and you can use DMS for that. You want to consolidate your existing on-premise and multiple on-premise instances into one Aurora instance. You can also use DMS to migrate your data and archive it on S3. And at the same time, DMS in all helps you to migrate from NoSQL solution to a SQL solution like MongoDB to Postgres, SQL solution to a NoSQL solution like Oracle to DynamoDB, or NoSQL to NoSQL solution which is Mongo to DynamoDB. DMS is also HIPAA compliant. From on the right side, you can see the sources and the targets we support. In the sources we also support S3 as a source, and we also support MongoDB, Db2 database, and in the targets we support DynamoDB, which is our NoSQL solutions. We support Redshift, which is our data warehouse solution, and we support Amazon Aurora, which is MySQL and Postgres compatible. So how will this work out when I'm doing my migration? How can I make this? How can I use both these tools, and do my migrations with less time complexity and being more cost effective, and being able to run my application seamlessly through cloud? So generally, we categorize it in two ways. Where for the first part comes in, where either you use Schema Conversion Tool to do your code conversion from your commercial source database to an open source engine in cloud. In AWS cloud, and or you can use your native tool if it is helping you out to do the automatic code conversions from when you are moving from your source database to a target database that you have selected in AWS. Step 2 comes is where you are actually moving your data, where you use DMS to basically migrate from your existing database to a database in cloud. At the same time, you can use Schema Conversion Tool also to migrate from your existing data warehouse systems to Amazon Redshift. So you can use Schema Conversion Tool to migrate from your from your Netezza, Greenplum, Oracle data warehouses to Redshift. And at the same time, you can also use DMS to migrate from you can use DMS to migrate from your existing databases to Amazon Redshift. So this is a general scenario again for how the customers can do the migration using the DMS. So let's explore that. The customer starts by launching a DMS instance in their AWS account. So I've gone ahead and I've started a replication instance. Then the customers provide a database connection information to connect out to their on-premise database onto their AWS database, and that is how DMS gets the connectivity to get the data from your source and push it to your target database that you have selected. Next, you will go ahead and select the table schemas or the databases that you want to migrate, and DMS will load the data and keep it in sync on an ongoing basis. So DMS will start loading the data, and at the same time it will start the sync process with regards to your changes that are happening on the source. Finally, at the time of the customer choosing, they can simply change their application. They can simply change the application to point to the new AWS database instead of old on-premise databases. So it is just a flip of a switch. Once you see that your sync and everything is working fine, and you see that your database in AWS is in real time with regards to your on-premise database. You just decide to take a minimal downtime, and you just flip the switch, and you just start pointing your current application code to the AWS databases that you have in place, and that's it. Multi-AZ option for high availability. So this is the same. So we have added, this is the same thing as I talked about before, but we also have high availability option with database migration service, where you can spin up a multi-AZ DMS service, and you can do the migration in the same way. Internally, DMS will be making sure that the multi-AZ instance, which is multi-AZ instance, is in sync, and if there are any issues with the current migration, which DMS is not able to, which with the current instance, which is primary, which is not able to which is not able to handle, or if there is any other intermittent issues that happens, then this options will help you to, basically, the DMS instance will fail over to its secondary instance, and your migration will resume from the point where it left off, without you having to do any manual intervention or any changes to your current things, or make to your current migration that you have set it up. So in DMS, the migration is basically done table by table. So you create the tables on the target database. You set up the metadata required by this target tables. And then you use our DMS replication instance to basically populate the data from the source. Each process will load one entire table. You can use multiple processes to you can use multiple processes to basically tune this also, and and at the same time, of course, you can pause, and you can resume your migration without any issues. You have the option to restart the migration from, if you want to, if you want to redo everything, or at the same time, you can also you can stop your replication at any point, and then you can resume it at later sometime, as per your requirement. Change data capture ability is basically where DMS will help you. The replication is basically hooking on to the logs, and basically capturing the changes that are happening on the source, and then doing the migration. So it is just the simple requirements that the DMS will require with regards to the source database that you have. So for example, if you have Oracle, which is your source that you are migrating to, you need to enable supplemental logging. If I'm having an IBM Db2 database, I need to enable recovery on my database to make sure that I generate the transactions log, and my DMS is able to capture that. For SQL Server, for SQL Server, it is enabling full recovery, or the bulk log recovery model, which will be generating transaction logs for that particular database. So there is no agent or nothing that needs to be installed on your current source database. DMS is just working with regard. DMS is just working with regards to. DMS is just working with regards to your conventional database setup, and then doing the migrations accordingly. What else you can do with DMS? So by now it should be pretty obvious that you can move data from A and B, and many customers have used DMS to just do that. But there are some customers who are actually looking for an ability to consolidate their existing multiple database architecture into just one database on the cloud. So DMS can help you with this. DMS can just easily move data between databases, and unlike databases, so you can take an information from a number of database platforms and consolidate into a single cloud database without having without any hassles or any complex configurations involved. In addition to fanning in or consolidating, you can also have taken their databases and either make a multiple copies of it, or migrate your different portions of your current source database to different database engines. So for example, if you customers from an ERP system, they replicate their customer list out to a CRM system onto a different database, and then and they also take some of the general ledger transactions and funnel them over to their another BI database system that they have built. So the DMS will also be able to help you that. We also have had customers who have, for legacy reasons, have used single database for more than three applications, and using our DMS, they have basically separated out they have separated out their applications into each and every single database engine. You can of course use a DMS to make sure, since the migration is table by table, you can also make sure that you don't want to migrate everything, or you might want to migrate some parts of the data. So some organizations want many years of historical data, and for those they are willing to make the leap, they are willing to take the leap of filtering, and using DMS, which allows using DMS, the filtering is the ability which is basically helping you to achieve this, where you can separate out the data and keep it in a separate instance, using these filters operator. DMS definitely supports homogeneous migrations also. So we have just in case if I wasn't abundantly clear, DMS can move your data from from pretty much anywhere to anywhere, where you want, sort of like a courier company for the cloud. So you can move from your current Oracle on-premise environment to an RDS Oracle environment. You can move from your commercial SQL Server database to a MySQL, and at the same time you can archive your old data by migrating to an S3 by migrating to S3 bucket using DMS. So let's talk more about how IBM Db2 is supported with regards to our tools DMS and SCT. So these are the supported versions and platforms that we are currently supporting with regards to DMS and Schema Conversion Tool. So currently IBM DB2 will be installed on Linux, Unix, and Windows. Will be supported by DMS and SCT. DMS and SCT supports migration and conversion from for these versions, which is 9.7 fixed pack 1 and up, 10.1, 10.5, and 10.5 versions. At the same time, you can use SSL encryption connection between your current DB2 endpoint when you are doing migration, as well as when you are doing conversion in both Schema Conversion Tool and in DMS, to make sure that you are doing to make sure that your migration and conversion is not done over the internet, and making it more secure with regards to your requirements. Prerequisites. One of the prerequisites, that in order to use the change data capture, the replication feature of DMS, you have to make sure that the current IBM Db2 database needs to be recoverable, because in this mode only Db2 database will generate logs, and that is where DMS will basically hook onto these logs and do the replication in the replication phase. uh, the following permissions are basically required when you are doing the change data capture, which is either you can give sysadmin permission or you can give DB admin, and we need data access also. The below documentation details some talks more in more detail about how IBM DB2 databases work with DMS. So you can please look that up for any other details or questions that you have. These are some of the limitations that currently are not supported with regards to DMS when you are doing your migration. So for example, clustered databases are not supported, but you can define, however, you can define a separate DB2. You can create each and every endpoint for each and every cluster, each and every database that you have in this cluster, and then you can do your migration. When in the replication phase, the following DDLs are not supported with regards to the partition tables, and then we also don't support the rename column. Coming to the DB2 LUW version 10.5, we don't support the variable length string columns also. So with DMS, you can definitely migrate from IBM Db2 database to these databases and the AWS managed services, as you can see. So you can of course go from Db2 database to Postgres or MySQL or Amazon Aurora, compatible with MySQL and Postgres, and at the same time you can move to the Amazon Redshift or DynamoDB or archive it on S3. When it comes down to schema conversion tool, you can do the code conversion with regards to from your IBM DB2 database to Amazon Aurora, which is MySQL and Postgres compatible, or you can go to an RDS Postgres or MySQL or a MariaDB instance. The fine print, the appendix, the resources that are available to the customers to get started with DMS and schema conversion tool. So on the console itself, you have the getting started review and technical documentation. You can review the features and benefits, where we talk about our best practices. Pricing will show you the what is the data storage, what is the prices for replication instance that you provision, the storage, and the data transfer costs. Support is where if you have any certain questions or certain feedback about our product, please feel free to go there. SDK and the CLI is basically helping you to automate your migration and automate your migration without having any issues. When it comes to schema conversion tool, you have the same things. You have the user technical guide available to you, and you can use or you can use the download button, which is basically gives you the most recent schema conversion tool with regards to, and gives you an option of the platform that you need it for. So you can whatever platform you have, once you click the download button, it will be taking you to this page, and you can download you can hit the download, and it will download the most recent one as per the platform that you are currently running on. Pointers for DMS. So this is basically certain best practices, or how to use our tools for doing migration and conversion. And at the same time, if you are having certain issues related to your migration, you can refer to these blogs, as well as these webinars will help you have a better idea about how you can do the migrations, what are the best practices associated with it, what are the issues that are being observed when you are doing the migrations, and vice versa. uh, GitHub repository is where we have certain database samples available, where you can go ahead, download these samples, set up a test environment, and play around with our tools in no time. Thank you. I really appreciate your time for this webinar. Thank you very much for this. Please feel free to drop a feedback with regards to this presentation, and let us know if you have any further questions or any feedback that you want to share with regards to our product, or any certain things that you are looking for. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.